Dan, we're back into it. I feel
Here we
like
go.
this is the first time I'm seeing you and talking about this. I'm here to talk to Dan and end the show. It's
No, I
not
don't think
working
that's right.
out. No.
No.
I'm here to talk about Mrs. Flood. We want to talk about Mrs. Flood, right? We've been trying to talk about Mrs. Flood since Christmas special. Who is Mrs. Flood?
Yeah, you said that you had some ideas, and when
I
we did
have a theory. Let's
review, and we had a bunch of different theories that we were talking about at the time. But you have a different idea,
we threw
totally
things
different.
up. Different idea. So we have clearly Mrs. Flood has mentioned, everybody knows, if you have not seen Ruby Sunday Church on Ruby Sunday Road, whatever it's called.
That's it. Close
if
enough.
you've not seen that, stop listening.
Why would you be
We'll
listening? Why would
spoil
you? It doesn't make any sense.
So no, at the end of that, right? She looks at the camera, kind of breaking the fourth wall a bit.
She does.
Winking. Hey, you've never heard of a TARDIS before? Waka
Right.
waka waka. The last part was weird.
But she turned into Fozzie Bear for a second.
They own the Muppets. Yeah, it's fair enough. Now, it's not just the TARDIS, like someone that knows a TARDIS. You can easily read that as someone that knows the idea of a TARDIS, which lends itself right to Time Lords.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You could have a master. You know, you have the picking up of the tooth, so that's clear. You could have a Romana.
Yep.
One of my personal favorites.
Are we talking about like
and 2?
Romana 3? We'd have a Romana 3 coming in here.
The Romana 3, right?
Your dream.
I think that would be great.
That'd be your dream.
Or yours, and who is one of your favorite?
It's the Ronnie. I want the Ronnie to be like
absolutely. I think that's
but it has to be the same. I want the same vibe as the actress who originated the role. I want the hair. I want the shoulder pads. I want the entire.
And there's that
kit and caboodle.
The V energy.
The real V.
Diana from V.
That's
right.
One
of my early crushes. Yeah. It could be any of those things, right?
Anyone.
I feel like they set that up. It could also be the doctor's granddaughter, Susan, who is sort of, I can't remember. She was left on a strange planet, like the old classic show. They would just leave people away. So
wasn't she left on Earth?
I don't think so. I thought she was left with like a rebel, or maybe a future Earth.
Yeah, it was a future Earth. It was a future Earth and a rebel. They were underneath like a bridge. They were living under a bridge overpass. They had a whole community of that's
could be her. Another popular
That'd be
theory,
really interesting.
The River Song. Right, River Song.
Do you think though?
You've got
that
Mrs. Flood, River.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I'm just.
That's the
out.
thing. Makes sense, but I really feel like they already told River's story, like backwards to forwards. Like we know the whole thing, and I think it would be kind of a disservice to bring her back in.
When I first watched the show, I thought, oh, it's Ruby's mom, right? Because you have major part of the story is she's looking for her biological parents, and that they're not on the record books. So there's an air of mystery about them anyway.
Except.
So it certainly could be that, but put a pin in that.
If she's a human, turning 19. If she's human.
Put a pin on that.
As a mother, I don't know. Okay.
Put a pin on that, Dan.
Pinned in.
So we're going to get to that.
Okay.
Because I have a theory.
Lay it on me.
That, as if you never heard this before.
I've never heard this before.
That it's the doctor's mom.
Okay.
This old woman is the doctor's mom, not the adoptive. And this ties into the whole timeless child, timeless children thing.
Right.
Whoever his biological mom was that left him as a baby or wherever, left them in that point between worlds. Yep. So imagine this woman is just traveling around leaving babies. And I think you could also have a scene where you could go back, and Russell T. Davies likes to do this, where you see like, Bad Wolf was here, Bad Wolf was there. Blah, blah.
Right.
You would have her throughout his whole life, so he never really was abandoned. She was watching him the whole time. I don't know if it's going to go in that direction, but I like the idea that it could be the doctor's mom. And now I want to circle back to Ruby's mom.
Right.
What if it's Ruby's mom and the doctor's mom? And it's either the same person that's going universe to universe, dropping off babies.
Right.
Things seem seem odd. They're dropping off babies and spreading the family, which would make the Doctor and Ruby brother and sister.
Interesting.
Assuming it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was what that's what occurred to me at like 7:30 a.m. when I woke up, and I was like, "This is what's happened to me."
Coming down off of the peyote trip, finally 3 days later.
My son opened the door. He's like, "Hey, let's play catch, Dad." And I'm like, "I can't.
I'm thinking about Ruby.
My theory. We could get up to 300 views."
But okay, so that's we said it before. I like that
of
the symmetry of a race species that's dropping off their children throughout the world, or throughout the universe,
from another,
as opposed to
universe.
The goblins that were snatching up kids in order to eat them. But like I like that kind of like, oh, it kind of mirrors each other. But how does your theory, which is mind blowing, my mind is blown again, already having heard it, I'm still blown, is how does that tie in, if at all, to the fact that, or what seems to me, that Mrs. Flood changes between when we first saw her and then the Doctor goes back to fix the time crack, and then when he comes back again, now she's like sitting out in a lawn chair, she's drinking from a flask, she's all smiley to everyone, and that's when she does the whole like, what, you never see it. She directs Ruby to the TARDIS that she knows, like she sees the door open, like she is she seemed very clearly to be a different person. When previously we saw her, she was like shocked when the TARDIS dematerialized in front of her.
There is a noticeable change.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that. Assuming that is true, these are other dimensional beings, Dan. This is like if you lived on a 2D plane and a sphere came into your world, you would only see a circle. You wouldn't have.
Is that Carl Sagan?
I think it's Carl. Probably, yeah.
Maybe. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
I've heard that.
I love that one, though. Yes.
That analogy used many times. But yes, so this is a multi-dimensional entity that inhabits the bodies, these flesh sacks of this old woman. So Mrs. Flood is a nasty old woman who hates her neighbor. And in that moment is the Doctor's mom / dad / what creator is sort of embodied. And then when you go back in time, we're not going to digitally add Mrs. Flood, this old lady like Zelig, to all of these scenes through history, or
just like a terribly mismatched video like still with like animated.
Yeah, right.
It's great. Okay.
They will have inhabited the form of many characters.
Okay.
Over the years. Oh, I was when that time. Why were there only 2 sets of footprints, Mrs. Flood? Because it's when I was carrying you.
This is great.
And it also adds to the Doctor feeling abandoned and like not having anyone, like he says that in this episode, whether or not
right
how you want to read that line, but dealing with that, no, I've always been here, I've always been watching you. Although I would say you really couldn't have sent a letter. It seems kind of a little shady, but maybe she is, or he is, or whatever is the villain, and it is the person that is waiting behind.
Right.
Or maybe this is White Guardian, Black Guardian situation. I'll throw that out there.
Can you
throw
even
my own
imagine?
theory in the trash.
That'd be so
because
good.
They've corrupted the timeline, and now there's people coming in to fix the timeline because the Doctor broke the timeline.
Oh my goodness!
When he came back as himself.
Bring the Guardians back. This is great stuff.
I
don't know. So yeah, it could be. Eric, the only way that we're going to find out is for us to keep throwing out crazy theories until the show returns in the spring. So I guess, folks, add your comments and tell us what you think, and we can respond to those as well. While we have some time, we'll just keep doing these little videos, and we'll throw out our crazy videos.
Because I do want to talk about the timeline
fracture,
sort of corrupted timeline, fractured loop that's going to collapse on itself and
wipe us all out.
And we also wanted to review that new Big Finish story that's coming out, I think, in January sometime.
Yeah.
So
you'll see more of us, folks. Like and subscribe, as they say.
I really hope that this recorded.
Where's my robot? You know?